Hey there, Agent Elise here. Welcome to the GAIA Daily for December 24th through 27th, 2021. How are you doing? Wow, really powerful energies here. Are you feeling it? This energy ever since the solstice, this time of year in general, the energy of the solstice has a feeling of like being suspended in time. It's like the sun is stationary for a few days before it makes its turnaround. And this is exactly where we are at in general, in the whole energy of the world, in our cosmos and our evolution, because we're in this time, this moment of adjusting, flipping, perhaps converging, reconciliation of timelines. So this is really powerful energy. And so it's like this feeling that we feel every year at this time, it's like super amplified because we're feeling this turnaround moment, this keyhole turn happening. So there's a really interesting energy here for supernova souls. And we are being invited to the other side of the veil. Like, it's not for everyone. But there's this moment happening where we're really being asked to establish and start to play in these new energies, to dream the new dream. The energies are super expansive and it's uncomfortable, but it's really comfortable for meditating, for healing, for rejuvenating, for dreaming, for visioning. And this is a huge shift of energy that we're beginning to feel because Jupiter is coming up to the shift of ages point. Jupiter for its third and final shift over into Pisces, over this Aquarius Pisces cusp, which is the shift of ages point. So Jupiter moved last year on the solstice. Jupiter and Saturn in that greater conjunction happens every 20 years. Greater conjunctions happen about every 200 years. Moving over on that solstice day 1 year ago. And now Jupiter then moved into Aquarius, moved all the way into Pisces, 2 degrees Pisces, and then took a retrograde. So now Jupiter is direct and coming to the last final moments in Aquarius, this bloom of what it means to move over into the Aquarian age and then shifting over into Pisces. So Jupiter in Pisces is a completely different energy. It's this super expanded, Jupiter is like a big crystal. So whatever it comes across, it just expands and grows more of that. And so moving over into Pisces, especially this 0 degrees Pisces, this happens on the 28th of December. And so this is a very powerful energy because it's bringing us into this completely other energy of like, whoa, there is a crazy matrix reality. And the more we get triggered and react and all play out our old stories and all this stuff, it's like we're just getting, everything is a trap to pull us back into drama and trauma. This has been the game the whole freaking time, all the way back to Atlantean time. Can we wake up now and be like, not gonna go, you say jump, I'm not jumping, right? So it's kind of like the question is, all right, so how do we get out of the game once you see it's a game? And this has to do with not playing the game. And we're all getting played. We've all been so played. Humanity has been so played. So it's really powerful energies right now because we're having the veil is thinning and this turnaround moment. And it's kind of like we can use that centripetal force to kind of jump timelines and literally say, yeah, my energy on any level is not available for your games. And to have the bravery and the strength as the leaders that you are, supernova souls, to step over into that new territory and begin to operate in these other frequencies. And so it's pretty interesting time right now of this in-between time and timelines trying to reconcile, but giving us an opportunity to literally step right through to a whole different energy. So we're feeling intensity building with Venus and Pluto back together for this whole month. Venus and Pluto have been together. Venus took a retrograde, started on the 19th. And so in Capricorn, this is about this power structures that have controlled the feminine. And Venus right now, in Venus retrograde, it always brings a feeling of vulnerability. Venus is our deepest a place of like our emotions, our sensitivities, our insecurities. And so Venus retrograde is always about rethinking and reevaluating. It can be self-judgment. It's just like, going into the past, old love relationships and all the issues coming up from past relationships, just right in your face. So right now, Venus is in a retreat mode. She's there with Pluto, and they're exact together until the 27th. So for the next few days, Venus is kind of slowing down. She's like, you know what? I'm not, since I'm not able to meet the monster, head on right now. She's not strong enough. She's got to get herself together, get her army, get herself rejuvenated. And so she's stepping back. And this is kind of a feeling of like going within. I know it's hard because we've had like lifetimes of hermiting, and especially for supernova souls, the last couple of years, incredibly isolating to a point of absolutely damaging. And because even though you are this advanced soul that's connected, you're also in a human body, and we need human connection. And the human connection we've had doesn't want to have anything to do with who we really are, coming back to this energy of living in this parasitic reality. And so this brings me to the next thing, or the really big thing, energy that's happening right now, is Saturn in square to Uranus. And this is the third and final square. So about this year, last time, or just in January, we started feeling this square. So it's been a whole year of influence of this energy. Saturn in Aquarius, Uranus in Taurus. And squares are tension, 90-degree angles. Like you can't keep going the way you're going. So with Saturn in Aquarius, and Saturn represents the laws and rules and the manifest world, Saturn in Aquarius is about, okay, so how do we do this Aquarian age thing? What are we really doing? Uranus in Taurus says, can't do it the way we've been doing it. So this transit is about, when are we going to see the changes in our manifest world that we already feel energetically so strongly? In fact, in a way, it's weird because we are feeling the manifest changes. We're feeling a massive amount of control energy coming from government structures. That is a reaction to the awakening energies, though. And so this is a great awakening. There's no way around it. And the biggest part of the great awakening is the Uranus and Taurus energy. So Uranus is the ruler of Aquarius. Uranus represents a higher frequency vibration. And so it's like a disruptive influence. It's like short-circuiting old patterns and old systems. And it's kind of like, it's not disruptive just to be disruptive. It's disruptive to patterns that are no longer appropriate, right? But then it's in Taurus, which is a fixed earth sign. And traditional astrology says Taurus is about money. It's about resources. It's about wealth. But it's like, is money wealth? Because it turns out it's just a bunch of paper or zeros and ones that somebody's in charge of. And they say, you can go use your card and like get it out of the bank. But there's no wealth there, actually. No, to back it up. And we can't go into the Aquarian age without a wealth revolution. So where's the wealth? Where's the true wealth? And that's supernova souls. The revolution of wealth has to do with going back to this whole parasitic reality we're living in, and that you, supernova souls, with this intuitive power, your experiences, prior experiences, your sensitivities, like everything that's wrong about you is actually right about you, because it means you're an advanced, evolved soul. It means you have not succumbed to the mind control. It means you're not susceptible because you're that strong. And everything, this time right now is about a weeding out process. Those humans that will go along with the program, and those humans that are going to stand up and say, we're not going to take it. And that's you, supernova souls. And you've been doing it the whole time through this whole evolution, lifetime after lifetime, showing up in the light of truth and going up against the man. This is what Venus is doing. She's our intuition, our sensitivities, our vulnerabilities, and she's hanging out with Pluto, just crumble into pieces. Do you know this feeling? Just complete overwhelm by this world because of, as we evolve and become more advanced souls, we get more sensitive. This is our strength. This is our wealth and abundance. Because the security force of the future, the guns aren't going to do anything, it's intuitive empaths. And that's just a way to talk about how wealthy you are. But you have been surrounded by karmic relationships where for lifetimes, these energies were about making sure you didn't know who you are. Because if you knew who you were, and if you knew this access, this direct connection to source, that you have what everyone wants. And so they had to make sure that you felt like total garbage about yourself. Because if you ever knew who you were, you wouldn't let them feed on you anymore. This is precious source, creation, direct connection, a precious spiritual gift. And this is where we're at. The hairpin turn for this reality, for humanity's evolution, is the starseed soul saying, yeah, we're not going to play those games anymore. We have this precious energy, and these new energies are supporting us in going and playing with them. Coming back to the garden, like, hey, if we're here to dream the dream of the garden of what Earth was originally wants to become in the timeline of our Eden star, then we better get to it right here, right now, and live and breathe in that garden. And it's like, yeah, but there's so much stuff going on in the world, and it's so horrible. And it is. It's like this end times, this scary shit out there. But that's not where we're supposed to be, because it's not real. It's a movie. Can you feel it? It's like going through life, and it's like, who wrote this script? Because like the way stuff plays out, and these synchronicities and these weird things, and it's like, all right, so that's going on, but clearly, this is where we need to be working. And this is the energy of Jupiter moving over into Pisces, inviting us to dream the dream. Dream a new dream, and to come back into this expanded truth. It's Jupiter and Pisces. It's like pretty much impossible in that energy to forget that we're spiritual beings. And it's kind of that energy of going back, like we can't leave the Piscean age until we go reclaim the magic of the Piscean age, which was direct spiritual revelation. And so Jesus, Yeshua, the man, he represented this experience of miracles and revelation and like the appearance of angels and all that. But what really brought people to him? How did he get a following, in so like such a powerful energy? And that was simply because of the healing miracles. Okay, so are we getting there? Supernova souls, you're the healing miracle. You're the mystical revelation. And we got to run with that shit right now. And because the world needs it. And the energy of just who you are as a soul and being able to hold the presence that you have. See, there's this thing around the whole 6 foot of separation and keeping us apart and no social gatherings and all that. It's because when you show up in this light of truth, in this establishment of these different frequency vibrations, you are an absolute challenge to the matrix, and that's who you've been all along, and how you got burned at the stake or whatever happened to you, but you kept coming back. So, really powerful. The Saturn square Uranus is exact from the 24th to the 29th. So right now, and through this next week, pretty much we'll be feeling it, and the influence all the way to the 19th of January. So that is really powerful. And what's happening right now, though, in the next couple of days, or actually on the 29th, we are feeling Mars come into this mix. And so Mars is in Sagittarius, and Mars loves being in Sagittarius because Mars is a fire sign. So Mars is actually in a sextile right now on Christmas Day, tomorrow, with Chiron. excuse me, a trine with Chiron and Aries. And so Aries is, of course, Mars' home sign. And so it's like, oh, empowerment. And Aries is about life force. And Sagittarius is about the vision and the epic journey and the mission and purpose and dream. And so it's like we're having an access to a surge of energy, which is perfect because it's like we're at the last battle with the lower matrix energies, because that Saturn square Uranus is at 11 degrees. Whoa, 11, 11, 11, because Mars will be coming into 11 degrees as well when it interacts with this square. And so 11 is a number, a very interesting number. And this is one of the ones that a lot of times people will start seeing. When they first have a relationship with numbers, 1111 shows up a lot, right? And 11 is a number of, it's called a master number, which is a builder number. And it's like, but 11 is powerful because it's like the two towers. It's like Gemini. It's like the masculine and the feminine, but it's also like a standing off to opposition and a war, a number of war and conflict, meaning using duality to overcome duality. And so that's exactly what's going on right now energetically. The Saturn square Uranus is like a war with duality consciousness. And it's like, we can't take it with us. That Aquarian age is not going to work there. We have to be in more of a oneness principle. We can't be constantly divided all the time with right now, these timelines split. It's like is opposing you out there. You cannot do it right. You cannot say it right. Something is gonna be wrong, And so it's so powerful. And so right now Mars is in this trine with Chiron, and it's like power, that surge, because Chiron and Aries is about where we've given away our life force, where we've given away our power. And this is kind of like that final round, where the participant the fighter gets that last burst of energy that pushes them through. And this is where we're at with this duality consciousness, which is the mind control, which is the everything, all the agendas out there of, remember, the trauma and drama and all of that. And so the medicine is to go to the one. And that's interesting because the North Node and South Node are at 1 degree, finishing up their time in Sagittarius and in Gemini. And so it's kind of like coming out of that duality consciousness, coming into the oneness in our heart. And so that Mars Mars is going to come to 11 degrees on the 29th and the 30th. So on the 29th, it's a very powerful energy because we've got the Saturn square Uranus exact, and they've been together in this exact square at 11 degrees for almost a week at that point. And so this time leading up to the 29th is really powerful. There's something going on that day because that Saturn square Uranus exact, and then Mars comes to 11 degrees. And in Sagittarius. So that puts Mars in a sextile relationship with Saturn and in an inconjunct relationship to Uranus. So it's like Mars is coming in from the side on this square, Mars, our warrior, our masculine side, still in trine to Chiron and Aries. Like, oh, you have not seen nothing yet, this like pushing through energy. And then get this, on the 29th, the moon will be in Scorpio. And so that when it gets to the 11 degree mark, which is about midday, in mountain time in the US on the 29th, it will make a T-square. And that's powerful because the moon, Scorpio, Mars is a ruler of Scorpio, right? And we've got Venus, Pluto, and that's all about transformation. And so we've got this like power moment there with that and Mars interacting, because the transits that Mars is bringing are harmonious transits. So you've got this square, like, oh, up against the wall, into the corner, there's nowhere to go. That feeling of like, and you're doing so much better than the normies, but it's like, I just wanted to get back to normal, and it's like No new normal, no normal, no old normal, no new normal. And this is where the energies are shifting to a point, though, where we have a really the beautiful possibility to just begin to exist in that place outside of time. That is the 5D relationship to the manifest world and time. It's completely different. And so the best way to do that is to have time and space in your life to make sure that you can leave time for meditation and processing of everything that's going on all these other levels. And so this time of year is really, really good for that. And so make sure to take that time for yourself. So Jupiter moves over into Pisces on the 28th. So that's just right before. So that square that's happening with the moon on the 29th and Mars interacting with that T square is right after Jupiter moves over into Pisces, just crosses over that 0 degrees Pisces moment. And so the next year of with Jupiter and Pisces is kind of seems to be about reclaiming that baby Jesus, the innocence, that the whole reason why what started the Piscean age, which we talked about, that mystical spiritual revelation, that direct connection, this magic and miracles. This is who you are. You can start operating in this 5D energy, which is total miracle energy. And everything we've all been having glimpses of this to the point where it can be creepy, where things just, it's almost like the world, everybody else is time traveling. We're stuck in this one linear thing. And it's like, and maybe we have been time traveling. Maybe that's, part of, this is one of the messages that comes through about supernova souls, is that we have been existing in multiple frequency dimensions. So now it's all coming to a head. And this is the energy of this next week and moving into now. Very powerful that we've got a new moon in Capricorn. And so that's going to be when we start to come out of this strange in between time feeling. And that is at 12 degrees Capricorn, 20 minutes. So more twos. And here we are moving into 2022. And it's like, okay, wow, this is it. Could this be it? It's it when we say it's it. It's it when we're like, I'm not playing. I've got this precious connection to my own source. I'm going to go play with that. You guys have fun with the trauma and drama. I know we've been saying this all along, but so what's happening right now is this whiplash type turn, right? But that is an opportunity to go, almost like, gaining momentum to jump timelines. So this is the energy to use this time wisely to anchor into the vibrational frequency. Because when I do timeline alignment work in the sessions, maybe you experience that in a soul group session, but the timeline alignment, people are like, well, what is a timeline? What are you even talking about? And the definition of a timeline is a vibrational frequency. So this is why shit's so weird right now, because you're trying to interact with these people and they're not on the same, you're in a completely different world. They're in a completely different dimension, a completely different timeline. And what happens when this shit crashes or dissolves or separates or, that's where we are right now. It's a crossroads. But it's all about us giving ourselves permission to start to play and dream that new dream and get out of the nightmare. And it's like, no more buttons pushed. And I see that all of those games that you've played your whole life, it was about one thing, two things. It was about what you have that everybody wants and how they tried to keep you from knowing you have it so that they could continue to feed on you. And this is powerful right now because this is representational of authority contracts. And so one of the big questions for me in this work is like, how do we release these authority contracts? Say, this is a lot of Pluto and Capricorn, of where we've given our power away in past lives or to organizations or to religious structures, wherever we've, in the government, and through lifetimes. But there's definitely galactic level authority contracts that are coming up right now. Because it's kind of like you have to work your way up the hierarchy. And a lot of times it's like there's this energy of like, oh, we're going to help you, humanity. Oh, we see you and it's cool. You're so special and all this, and we're going to help you and we're going to save you and it's going to be okay. And we're your higher power. And it's like, no, you're not. There is nothing between me and source. And so get your agendas out of here. So it's like distracting, manipulative agendas that come in and try to tell you you're so great and then manipulate you out of your own power. This has been happening to supernova souls over many lifetimes. And it's time for us to not fall in the trap this time, because we don't need a freaking savior, you know? And we are the savior of humanity, because we're still awake and we're not falling for it. So really powerful energies in this Venus. So Venus, Pluto is about this, our vulnerabilities and authority. And so what I've found when I've asked this question, how do we get rid of these like galactic authority contracts maybe we had way before we even came to this earth evolution? You know, we've been beat up in other realms, you know, and we had these contracts. And so what these contracts are like is that, oh, it's like at some point, and sometimes the ones that are hardest to get rid of were made when you were a child. So it's like you were a child and you were identified as a gifted child, and then you were pulled into this program that was going to support and educate you and support you in your gifts, but it was really about identifying you so that you could be manipulated out of your gifts. And these authority contracts with teachers from past lives, but when you were a child or a youth, those are really tricky. And it's like, this is supernova souls in general. And the whole problem with our whole world is we've lost our innocence. So coming back to the wealth revolution, because when we find out the dark shit that's been going on with children, you know, and our world and what we've allowed to happen by turning a blind eye and just ignoring it, it's sickening. And it's an attack on one thing though, our innocence. And supernova souls, this has been your whole problem. You fell for all that shit because you're so naive. Which means your innocence, your pure, uncorruptible soul. And that's why we need you so bad right now. And that's why you're the wealth of the world. So pick yourself up, dust yourself off, but rest a little more, hibernate, meditate, dream, vision, start to play in these new energies. You need lots of time and space to do that. The time constriction of this world is the main enemy with working with energies in the way we want to, which is interesting because Mercury rules the mind, and also it kind of rules time, a level of time, our everyday conception of time. And Mercury is coming into the conjunction with Venus and Pluto. That's going to be exact on the 29th as well. So the 29th is when Mars interacts with the T-square. It's right after Jupiter moves over into Pisces, and this energy of Mercury joining Venus and Pluto, it's intense. So Mercury is the messenger. It's our mind. It's our conceptual reality. And in Capricorn, it's speaking to, are we free in our mind? Should we even use that mind? We want to get rid of that shit. It's like a psychological program. It's not even a mind. It's just a receiving device for agendas, you know. This is what's going on in Capricorn, in Mercury's mind, right? He's the messenger, but he's not quite sure the message. Can you relate? So Venus, the intuitive self, the intuitive mind. So what this is saying, Mercury and Venus together with Pluto, is that we have got to remember, and again, use the right and left brain or creative thinking. So this was a long-term agenda that started back in Atlantean time to disconnect our hemispheres of our brain, keep us in the psychological loop. Because but it's like, it's interesting because people, then we say, oh, you want to just get rid of your mind. You know, you don't want that mind. Or the male mind is the thinking mind, and that's ego, and you just want to get rid of it. And it's like, no, we need both, people. And we've just been constantly distracted. We need both. Everything that's gotten us here in this drama is divide and conquer tactics. And that's happened in our very own brain. So like we are the duality war. Oh, it's crazy. And so Venus and Mercury coming together is about how do we rewire? How do we get out of this mind control? How do we start to think for ourselves again, to know that our thoughts are our own thoughts? And that's only when we align with the center to come into that oneness. And because the thinking we really want to do is with the conscious cells in our heart. We have them in our gut. We have them in our glandular system. These are cells from the very beginning of the embryonic development of the human. These cells were first conscious cells, just like our brain, but in the heart and in the gut and in our sexual organs. So interesting, huh? And so maybe when they talk about this part of our brain that we don't use and this expanded consciousness that we don't even know we have, I mean, maybe that's not necessarily in our brain. And so because the brain, when you take it out of the body, it splits into two pieces. There's just one little place, the corpus callosum, where that energy can go between. And that's where we need to be, actually. This is what the Mercury-Venus conjunction is saying. Hey, we got to be here. If we're going to claim back our mind, our collective psychology, we have to do it from a place of oneness, not duality consciousness, because that's always going to pit us against. It's always going to be divide and conquer. And then we'll be constantly distracted this whole time in this evolution, like we've been, from the common enemy. And this is what's about to change. So it's weird. It's like, yeah, we're getting over duality consciousness, moving into more oneness and that has to happen for the Aquarian age. And it will absolutely have to happen as truth disclosures come into the world and we start vibrating at this higher frequency where, those matrices and those lower energies of structures are just start to completely break down. This is the mask slipping. If you've ever been in a relationship with a narcissist, like most empaths have, because it's something we have to go through, that is, there's a place when you realize the behavior and you start to call it out. And especially a covert narcissist, it's actually dangerous because when the mask slips, they get rage. And it might be the sweetest, nicest person. You never thought that they were capable of that. And then all of a sudden it's like violence and rage because they do not want to be exposed. And that's exactly what's going on in our world right now. Our parasitic narcissist agenda, control energies are doing everything from being exposed, but it's like, it's so close, it's all breaking down. And then it's like Oz behind the curtain. It's like, oh, that's all that you guys have been this whole time, playing a big old scary part. And you're just a guy in your mom's basement on the computer, I don't know, but but this is the deal, coming back full circle with these authority contracts, which is everything that this is about, taking back our power, humanity. And since we have not been so susceptible to the programming and mind control, we are in a very powerful placement to stand for humanity while they sleep. That means breaking these galactic contracts. It's just like the Declaration of Independence in the US. That was about making an official declaration of cutting ties with Britain. And that was specifically so that then they could solicit support from other players, like France. And so when we look at this, we are having a galactic authority contractual breaking. And this is supernova souls are doing this for humanity. And this is like saying we're not going to play. So these contractual arrangements with authorities have been galactic authorities where we kind of agreed to stay small. We agreed to forget who we were in our power. It's almost like, oh yeah, we came to go to Earth. We're so excited, but we're kind of naive. And, and they're like, okay, well, I guess we'll let you in, but you have to play by our rules. And we agreed because we had to get here. But now, game over. Because we're not going to come here and not follow through with coming into our full spiritual potential. Not going to happen, right? So this is powerful because when I was asking about this, I keep trying to get full circle here. I think maybe I can get through the thought now, but asking about getting rid of these galactic authority contracts. How do we do it? How do we claim back our autonomy for humanity? Has to do with the contracts we're looking for play out in our narcissist empath relationships, our personal relationships. That's how we find them. And if that can tell you why they've been so intense, it's literally like factions from your own bloodline that have been against you but controlling you, manipulating you to make sure that they can continue to use you as a pawn, your power as a pawn in their game, where the end justifies the means, and it's so against your nature. And everything in this world's been against you because of your pure nature, because of your innocence. And now it's time for retribution and the tables to turn and our innocence to be returned to us. And so Venus going up against Pluto, Venus always rules relationships, right? And so when we have Venus retrograde, it's a lot of times astrologers will say, well, those old lovers are going to show up and you're going to all the unresolved stuff from past relationships. It's like, oh God, that's just what I need, right? It's like little old Venus, she's feeling so vulnerable already, and so disempowered. But maybe we do need to go face these relationship energies where, yes, we broke away, but did we completely break the contract? Because we got to get back the piece of ourselves that we gave away to them. And so it's like showing up and being seen and heard and saying, I'm not going to take it, and give back what's mine now. I see it's mine now. You need to give it back. And this is the powerful thing. I mean, this mantra, like because what came through the Edgar Cayce readings I keep talking about is that we are the absolute highest form of authority, a human soul and a body. We just got manipulated out of knowing that and acting on living that truth. And so when we say, I do not consent to any outside authority, it's a very, very powerful energy for this time. And then it's interesting because I can feel a wave of energy coming in that's kind of like, oh, are you going to be okay out there alone without a psychological handler, without our protection? Are you going to be okay out there? And it's like, oh, supernova souls, we've been through hell and back. And so we're not scared and we're not going to play these games. So interestingly enough, are going back to complete relationship contracts has everything to do with this current astrology, with Mercury and Venus and Pluto all together, because it's about breaking contractual arrangements around mind control and outside agendas for humanity. And that's reflected in our personal relationships. I don't know. So it took me all video to get to that, put those ties back together. But hopefully that makes some sense and gives you some clarity about what's happening, because we really are going back to the treasure chest that was where we're taking our treasure chest back. And we're saying it's time to return the diamonds now. It's time to return the jewels. You had all this time, family members, to receive the blessings of this bounty, but you refused to play along in this, in an authentic truth, and recognizing and honoring my sovereignty. So you must give back those treasures. The thing about the narcissist relationships is that when it's one thing to be in it, but the real damage comes when they either discard you or you have to run away in order to stay safe. And the whole idea is to open your wounds, so that you they have this black hole inside of them. And that's why they're looking for food, for a source like you. And then, but it's like, then you leave and it's like they took your part of your soul and left you with their gaping hole. And that's when it gets really confusing, because you're like, well, am I the narcissist? Because what just happened to me and what's going on, and this deep and profound pathological loneliness. And it's like, doesn't fit, right? Because supernova souls are totally fine on their own. It's not about not wanting to be alone, because that's a beautiful time when, you can feel that connection to oneness, but it's like this ripping out your heart and soul through this manipulative gaslighting, pretending to love you, It's not okay. And so it's almost like maybe this is part of our whole journey right now. It's like us souls that have not succumbed to the programming standing up and saying, we take our energy back now. We take back the jewels, fill up my treasure chest. It's just too fun. And I'm going to go play in my own playground with my friends where we create this new earth, this beautiful, beautiful energy. It's like, can't you feel it? This is what's going to happen with Jupiter moving over into Pisces. It's a beautiful, expansive spiritual energy. And it's like, we just don't have time for that bullshit. We got to get on with it. And so, this energy, this is so dynamic and beautiful. And so stay present. I think I'm going to do a live, maybe Q&A or guided meditation or both on that 29th day, because the energy is so powerful. So look out for that just here on YouTube. And thank you so much for being here with me, for your support, bringing your energy to the events, to the Supernova Soul Tribe. It means so much to me. And wow, what a journey, but we're doing it. We're winning. This is the final battle. Can you feel it? And we win every moment that we can stay in that oneness. It's like that energy, if you've been to the events with the Great Mother, from this place and that wholeness and this centered mind, that still point, then everything can play out just as it needs to, and everything you need to know will be right there in front of you, because the mother is holding you and holding your hand and walking with you on this journey, because we go together. So that was a really cool thing that came through. I think that last solstice event, it's like, oh, supernova souls, we want to connect on this astral plane, and we're looking for each other, and we're trying to find these connections. So much has kept us apart over so many lifetimes, but we find each other like by first forging our relationship back to the mother and being in her arms and being in this place. So the energy of these next few days, this through the end of the year, is like going into the cave of the mother and to be with her and live from that place and reorient your life. What would it be like to live from that place where you're on her time and you're guided to move with her energetically, vibrationally, in alignment with the patterns and the cycles? Finally, is this what it means to come home? Because I keep getting the message from her that, she wants her children to come home, bring the children home. So here we are. Maybe that's the rebirth of innocence as we take back our world and begin to dream the new dream, which is the old dream, original dream. And you've got that right there in your heart and your soul for the journey. So fortify yourself, prepare for what's coming, rest, heal, vision, and recover. And I look forward to seeing you soon on the next update. Merry Christmas. I love you so much, Supernova Souls. I look forward to seeing you soon. Until then, I'm Adrienne Elise. Namaste.